Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, formerly California, and now somewhere else, to be slightly more specific, yet slightly vague. My name is Brian Engelman. Today is Wednesday, January 15th. Yeah, we're already halfway through January 2025. This is the TNAM Morning Show, or TNAM AM. TNAM in the AM. Trying a few different things, trying a few different formats. Maybe a regular early morning show. Maybe a regular nightly show. Of course, we still go to live events, and we will be doing so coming up for the inauguration. We were there 4 years ago, and it only seems fitting that we bookend this entire historic, interesting time frame. On January 6th, 2021, I still have to kind of always think about that. It's like, okay, so the election was in 2020, so this is in 2021, right? Okay. Hey, quick question. What do you do when you bring your winter plants inside and some of these little fruit flies go around? There's several different strategies that I've been using. Some of them are working. All of them are working, but I don't think they're working fast enough. So these little guys will end up in front of me, and I end up clapping like a seal, like a madman. Do you have this problem? I went and built off the grid. By the way, apologize if you're listening with earbuds. That's why I'm asking for your suggestions. I don't want to clap at the beginning of the show, but I don't want these things buzzing around. There's sticky strips that have worked. Just leaving a little bit of coffee around. It's like they kamikaze. They just jump in, go for a swim, and then have a nice sleep. Anyway, looking for tips and tricks on how to control pests when you bring in your potted plants when things get frozen outside. Because one of the groups on Facebook that we run is TNAM, TNAM Grow Something, the New American Media, TNAM, TNAM Grow Something. And we've built off-the-grid self-sustainable homes in Taos, New Mexico called Earth Ships. And there's indoor greenhouses. So I'm very curious how they deal with the bugs, with the flies, the gnats, the little, when you have an ecosystem, you have an ecosystem. But when you have living quarters, how does that work? Because I think what we need to be doing now is having conversations about how can we build. Am I really going to say, how are we going to build back better? Maybe I will. Build back better. Okay. Build back better. What a terrible slogan for a terrible regime that fortified themselves into a position of unearned power, and almost everything they touched fell to crap. President Trump has said something along those lines. Everything they touch turns to shit. Everything woke turns to shit. Having been a resident of Los Angeles for several years, my heart breaks for that area. A property that the place I worked, we used to manage properties, and I think a 127 unit homeowners association was burned to the ground. And I've been all up through the Palisades area, that whole Southern California area. Now you have to ask, what is the best way to move forward? What are some smart ways that we can try to mitigate this from ever happening again? Of course, that brings up other concerns. You saw Gavin Newsom doing his happy dance, talking about how developers are buying up portions of Lahaina. Ooh, I want my smart city in 2028. Hey, we have the Olympics coming. Did you see Gavin Newsom doing the dance? Weird psychopathic stuff. Him and Trudeau and Pelosi and Biden, Obama, Harris. Like, there's a weird culty, we're going to act you through this thing and you're going to have your talking points. And he got so excited he started dancing. Now I've pushed for sustainability for a long time. We went and did a documentary in North Carolina called Hurricane Helene, Help on the Way. And I've had this thought in my head, why don't we just buy a piece of land, find a farmer, and say, hey, buddy, instead of this is eminent domain and we're going to take your stuff away, because that's usually how government operates. Hey, buddy, we're the government, we're going to take your stuff away. That's what people have been complaining is happening in East Palestine, trying to buy all the property cheap. People are complaining that that's happening in North Carolina. I'll show you this in a second. And that's what they're saying in Los Angeles. Trying to buy the land cheap, run the people out of there that have been there for generations. Sometimes having a piece of land and a property that's paid off free and clear, I mean, that's one of the greatest gifts that's kind of what we're all striving for. We don't need to be rich. We just don't need to feel like we have the sword of Damocles hanging over our head all fucking day. We just want a nice, comfortable existence. Got one. I'm going to try to clap quieter, folks, until we can get this under control. I will try to clap quieter. I just did a quiet clap. It took me off of whatever the heck I was saying, though. I've had a dream of finding a farmer with a few hundred acres and say, hey, buddy, what's your place worth? $4 million. All right, here's $8 million. Can we convince you that we would like to get this land to become an emergency town, an emergency subdivision? And we want to put earth ships here, off the grid. They catch the water, solar panels, give you the power, battery banks, geothermal, no heating or cooling bills. Indoor greenhouse, so you're growing your food. You know, maybe not everything to live off of, but some things. You have some chickens out back giving you eggs, maybe a goat or a cow or something. Maybe say, look, the way that this farm was operating in the past, we want to honor it by there's all these displaced people. We want to give them a tiny house on this property and then devote corners of this that are productive areas of the farm to remain producing food, so that this subdivision can always be an asset to the community. And maybe the complex, maybe the subdivision continues to carry the title on those tiny homes. Okay. Maybe they own the home outright, but that family's allowed to live there in perpetuity as long as they want. You know, 4 times a year, they have inspections on the place to make sure everything's in operating conditions and that they're not letting the place fall to squalor or misuse or, you know, turning into anything detrimental to the community. Or they could buy it and then live in a community of people that are really there to help everyone rebuild. I've had this dream. And when I see horrible things happen, I'm like, all right, how do we fix it? How can we think a smarter path through? By the way, hit like, hit subscribe. And a quick question of the day, tell me what streaming service are you watching us on right now? Are you on X? The New American Media is at, oh, here, let me just show you. This is a stinger in A2D2. I know you don't know what that means. But here, let me show you our social medias. Please follow these. Now, what I have to do is take that video clip, put it into iMovie. I need to record over top where I'm saying, please follow us in all of those places. But please hit like, hit subscribe, and let me know where you're watching us from. Are you on X? We're at American_media_. Are you on Facebook? We're now streaming on Facebook, the New American Media page. You know what? Zuckerberg says he's not going to mess with us for 4 years. Past couple days, I've had a lot of thoughts on Zuckerberg. Please reference the previous day's show. By the way, if you miss a day, go back the day before. We're not going to talk about the same stuff every single day. And if it's the same topic, we're going to give you different insights. So if you miss a day, go back, watch a few in previous. Watch a few that were previously uploaded. Watch a few in previous. But yeah, there's a difference, though, between wanting to help rebuild and having ideas and burning people out intentionally so that you can seize their property and rebuild in your image the way that you want to. There's a concern, this Agenda 2020, Agenda 2030, these smart cities that they get really wonky. And with weather manipulation, by the way, if it's commonly known that since the days of doing rain dances, cloud seeding, dare you look up the guy Dane Wigington. I think I'm saying his name right. Wigington. Messing with the weather is something that entities have been doing since as long as we realized there was weather. Praying to weather, rain dances, to the most advanced supersonic astrological geomagnetic low Earth orbit microwave technology that you could even fathom, and they're doing 10 times past that. There's so much interesting, cool, and terrifying technology out there. It really does make you think. And so when a natural disaster happens, you wonder, is it natural? Well, no. Is anybody talking about the origin of these fires? Every day I'm scrolling through social media. Every day I'm looking and I'm researching. I'm reading about this. I'm not hearing who did this. What did this? I am seeing arrests being made of looters. I am seeing arrests and videos of people intentionally lighting other things on fire as if America's under attack, as if we let in an army of military-aged men. We being they, we being Biden is almost gone. Less than a week, 5 days? 5 days from now, we are fundamentally transforming America. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, there were 2 more unhinged lunatics that went over to, I believe it was Jimmy Carter's funeral. I think they were lone wolf actors trying to either blow up another vehicle or attack President Trump. So just, 5 days. If they're actually going to cede power, we got 5 days. In 5 days, I can take a big breath because I think the people in charge are absolutely monstrous. And they're not in charge through the will of the people. I think they fortified, with the help of Mark Zuckerberg, the election. They bragged about it in Time magazine. Go back and read the article. But look, there's a difference between having a vision of make a farmer hit the lottery, design a subdivision of earthships, off-the-grid self-sustainable homes. You can do them very small. You can do them medium. You can do it very small. You can do it small. You can do it medium. You can do it medium big. You can go big. You can go pretty big, very big, super big, monstrously big. There's all sorts of variations you can have on this. And then you have a community right there that can help put people back on their feet. And then maybe as that family, if they live there for the next 40 years and then they end up, they live the rest of their life out there, that can be an asset for the community. Do you sell it at that point, or you just reserve it for, there's options. There's so many options if there's a will. I don't see why we're not building these subdivisions of help. So when people come in and want to completely redesign a danger zone, it makes you think. It makes you wonder, what's your real motivation here? But here, just let me play you the intro to this. This is Hurricane Helene, Help on the Way. This is our documentary. It's on, we did re-upload it onto the New American Media on YouTube and on Rumble. Right? It should also be on Odyssey. But please check this one out. Here we go.
Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.
My name's Grizzly. We are headed to Weaverville to drop off some donations. We're going to be going through some pretty flooded out areas. Really, we're going to kind of go in and check in and try to make some connections with some people down here. And we're taking a big load of supplies, and then we're going to head over to Newland and hopefully get some volunteer in and just kind of see what people need. I don't really know what to expect until we just get down here.
So that's the documentary. Let me just play you the intro to it. Yeah, over.
There was no notifications going to your phone, like an Amber Alert, like evacuate. I get alerts from Denny's. There actually was a bunch of houses right here that aren't here now. You can see, look how big the river is, like the riverbed. Holy, look at this Dollar General, bro.
It blesses your heart to see the way people have come together.
Yeah. I heard like 4 different people talking about like how everybody's just worried this initial hype's gonna die away and people are just gonna forget about it. And really none of these communities can afford to be forgotten.
So look, we're passionate about this, preparedness. We're passionate about
your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.
Give me some new ideas. All right, let me stop this video. We're passionate about new ideas. And we're 5 days away from having new ideas. And my understanding is there's going to be about 50 to 100 executive orders on day one. Oh my gosh, let's go. Let's turn this stuff around. Number one, let's get a currency that has a purchasing power. And prioritize rebuilding this country because we represent us. We're Team America, World Police. This stuff has got to stop. It's all piracy. It's all looting. Yeah, Julia Roberts, you want to get mad at looters in Malibu? Well, get mad at the looters in Washington, okay? I want to share with you some stories. Let me try to pull these up here. Oh my gosh, is this breaking news? Why can't I share this page? Hold on. This appears to be breaking news. The FDA has banned food dye red number 3, citing cancer concerns. The dye is still used in thousands of foods, including candy, cereals, cherries, and fruit cocktails, and strawberry-flavored milkshakes. Make America healthy again. All right. I mean, that sounds pretty good, right? Sounds pretty good to me. All right, let's go to the next one. Are we still... No, what's going on here? Why is this not working? Stories are no longer available. Is anything available? Hang on, let me refresh this. Wow. All right. Good. Now we got some that are available. That was getting a little frustrating. All right, let's go through the news. And by the way, you can comment. We do get your chat overlay here. Love to have you participate in the program. So let's kind of tear through what's going on in the news. Do you agree or disagree that Pete Hegseth crumbled under Democrat inquiries? Democrat questions made Pete Hegseth crumble. Do you agree or disagree with that? Let's go ahead and turn the volume out, and we'll just click it and play it from the post.
Words, you're quite sure that every general who serves should not go directly into the defense industry for 10 years. You're not willing to make that same pledge?
I'm not a general, Senator.
You'll be the one, let us just be clear, in charge of the generals. In other words, you're quite sure that every general who serves should not go directly into the defense industry for 10 years. You're not willing to make that same pledge?
I'm not a general, Senator.
You'll be the one.
So that was an interesting exchange. I feel like that one is a little bit where you clip it. I think what she's trying to get at, and look, having to ascribe what I think Pocahontas was doing there. Yes, she's mocked by that name because she stole money by claiming to be something she wasn't. 1/1,000,000% Cherokee or something. I had high cheekbones. I needed to get hired at this school. So yes, in the DEI world, if you can't claim some sort of non-white, non-straight, non-male thing, by the way, I'm a straight male Christian. Oh boy. Like in the DEI world, people look at me as like a couple of check boxes and they go, nope, nope, nope. Hiring this person doesn't help me balance my diversity, my equity, my inclusion. And I would be discriminated against. Whereas Elizabeth Warren, who tries to play for the Democrat team and virtue signal all day about why they're so high and mighty and pious, she's like, oh yeah, I'm 1/1,000,000th Cherokee Indian. Gimme. It's a game. It's a game that's played. It's a game of power and control. It's identity politics at its worst. And luckily, DEI is DONE because it's destructive, it's divisive, it is counterproductive. It does the opposite of help. You go after the most qualified people. You don't go after the most qualified people who went to Penn State. I'm sure a lot of people who went to Penn State have a lot of great things going on for them. But you consider the entire pool of applicants, the entire opportunity around you. You don't limit just to Penn State graduates. And that's what DEI is. But Elizabeth Warren, who had to play that game and try to pretend she's something that she wasn't, yeah, she gets called Pocahontas for that. She doesn't get to walk away from that. On the other hand, I also understand in a universe where that's how the game is played. It's like, well, I don't know, do a 23andMe. I could claim any sort of aggrieved status. Aggrieved. Give me a break. Anyway, Elizabeth Warren, far be it from me to try to put thoughts into Elizabeth Warren's head because she's on the wrong side of so many of these things. But maybe she's trying to not talk about him not going into the defense industry or the consulting industry or the lobbyist, whatever terminology she was using there. Maybe it's about her asking him about the generals who are serving under him if they should be able to go into the defense contractor industry within 10 years of working in the Pentagon or something along those lines. I'm actually willing to give her a little bit of a break on that one. After watching it a couple times, I'm like, well, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she was just saying something stupid and being stupid, which is pretty much on brand for Elizabeth Warren. But anyway, wanted to share that one with you because that was funny. Here's another.
Let us just be clear. Charge of the generals. And
that was the same one. Okay.
I don't think Americans are
Let's
making
go ahead and take a look at this one. CNN freaking out about the polls. POLLS, not POLES, POLES. Yeah, the above ground poles that snapped down during the wildfires that could have led to more fires in Palestine. But what is the reason? What is responsible for the California fires? It appears to be arson. It appears to be an attack. It appears to be the same thing that happened when 2025 kicked in. All the sleeper cells were given the A-OK. Go to Vegas and blow up a truck. Go to New Orleans, drive your vehicle through, grab your gun and just cause as much chaos as possible. Hey, go into Southern California and try to light as many things on fire on this day as possible. I feel like we're not done. I feel like we are under attack from the people that Biden, Obama, Harris, Clinton, the New World Order, Soros, all those people that they brought into this country. Military-aged males. For what purpose did they sneak into our country from every other country? What are those intentions? I'm not going to assume any of it's good. You don't break into my house and ask to be given preferential treatment or the benefit of the doubt. No, I'm going to do the opposite. Anyway, here's CNN. They're polling people like, hey, what's responsible for the fires in California?
I don't think Americans are making this connection. And the way we can see this in right here and now, take a look at the monthly change in Google searches. Look at the searches for wildfire, up 2,400%. My goodness gracious. This is the most amount of people searching for wildfires ever, going back since Google Trends began back in 2004. But look at climate change. Look at the change. It doesn't go hand in hand with wildfires. It's actually down. It's down 9%. And I also looked in California. There has been no increase in the number of searches for climate change.
They've been scamming you, looting you, plundering your wealth, and redistributing it to the most wild, Marxist, anti-American people you could imagine, who will divert resources from the important task of making sure every vehicle in your fleet is operational. I shared a video on yesterday's TNAM Morning Show, an entire fleet of Los Angeles trucks. Now, if that video is accurate, if it's not, then I'm willing to entertain other options and other possibilities with that. But that being said, all of those vehicles not being kept in tip-top shape while you're pushing DEI, divisive, racist policies, illegal policies, instead of focusing on fighting fires, yeah, that's a problem. Leaving a single reservoir dry while you're firing firefighters who didn't take the experimental jab. When you're prioritizing and delaying, you're prioritizing DEI. Only graduates who went to Penn State. This isn't race, it isn't sex, it isn't sexual preference. It's just think of it as Penn State graduates. Instead of 100 options, you have 3. Are they the most competent, capable, and qualified? In some cases, you could play the lottery and the numbers 1, 2, 3 come up. That's not going to be very often. Meaning you have degraded your force because you put your blinders on and you will not even consider things unless they're Penn State graduates. This is all coming to a head. This is all done. Thank God. This has been such a dark chapter of American history, trying to overcompensate, or at least it's not trying to overcompensate. It's a couple of people learning that they can manipulate others for power and control by getting them to feel shame for things that happened a long time ago to people who weren't them, and being yelled at by people who were not aggrieved. And it's a whip that cracks every day in the schools, in the media, and it warps people's brains. And I have sincere empathy for people who have consumed CNN or MSNBC or even Fox. Fox changed in 2012. I mean, Fox has been on the wrong path for several years now. At one point, they gave the other side. Then they just kind of joined the deep state, getting rid of Tucker and bailing on their lawsuit, pretending all sorts of stuff and repeating the fine people hoax in the 2020 debates against Trump to get rid of him. No, people who have been brainwashed to hate themselves, to hate their country, to hate everything about everything. I feel bad for those people. But join us on Make America Healthy Again. Red dye number 3 is now gone. There's going to be a cascade effect. with Bobby Kennedy. By the way, the Democrats kept Bobby Kennedy from becoming the nominee in the Democrat Party. That's why he joined Trump. He joined because that was the only place that would allow him. You have to thoroughly reject that blue, all of that Democrat, all of who they are, all of what they represent. You gotta just throw them in the dustbin of history. People like Bobby Kennedy that said, look, health and wellness, this is such a priority. I'm willing to work with the other side of the political aisle because this is so urgent. You know, that's hero behavior. That's hero behavior. And that's the stuff that's about to happen in 5 days, is we're going to start focusing on fixing problems instead of just destroying the other guy. And that's all the Democrats have had to offer year after year, decade after decade. Obstruction. We have a list of 100 problems. I want to hear ideas and proposals. I don't want to just hear the nonstop ad hominem attacks. Get to work fixing what Biden, Obama, holding the puppet strings, and Harris broke. Get to work fixing stuff. And so, yeah, this whole green agenda, this whole climate change, global warming, it's non-stop with these people. And it has to be rejected. We are not going to destroy our economy. We're not going to double our prices unnecessarily. We're done playing these games. You lost. Sit down.
So the bottom line is this. Americans are definitely interested in learning about these wildfires. They're interested in following the news about the wildfires, but they are not making that connection with climate change. That's the bottom line here.
That's a really key metric you're looking at there, the connection. Overall, Americans being worried about climate change, what have we seen over time?
Yeah, you know, we have seen a lot of extreme weather events over the last few decades, right? Hurricanes, heat waves, wildfires. You might expect that Americans worry about climate change with climate change worry a lot. You go back to 1991, it was 35%. Now it was a little bit higher in 2007, a little bit higher in 20.
By the way, I don't like how he said 1991. I really dislike how he said 1991. That made me feel very old.
2022. But look at this. In 2023, the last time we have data, 39%. That is not statistically significantly different from this 35% back in 1991. So despite...
Please don't say 1991. That is awful. Was this guy born in 1991?
All these... I don't think...
Wow. But yeah, people aren't buying your bullshit.
The senator from Virginia starts...
Right, let's move on to Pete Hegseth. Do you agree or disagree? Because we do the Agree to Disagree show Tuesday and Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Do you agree or disagree that the Dems destroyed Hegseth?
The senator from Virginia starts...
This is, holy crap, Senator Mark Wayne Mullen. Mark Wayne, what a name. Went after the Democrats attacking Pete Hegseth.
Bringing up the fact that what if you showed up drunk to your job? How many senators have showed up drunk to vote at night? Have any of you guys asked them to step down and resign from their job? And don't tell me you haven't seen it, because I know you have. And then how many senators do you know have got a divorce before cheating on their wives? Did you ask them to step down? No. But it's for show. You guys make sure you make a big show and point out the hypocrisy because the man's made a mistake. And you want to sit there and say that he's not qualified? Give me a joke. I mean, it is so ridiculous that you guys hold yourself as this higher standard and you forget you got a big plank in your eye. We've all made mistakes. I've made mistakes. And Jennifer, thank you for loving him through that mistake. Because the only reason why I'm here and not in prison is because my wife loved me too. The senator from Virginia starts bringing up the fact that what if you showed up drunk to your job?
All right.
How many senators?
You know, it seems like that's the only thing that they had a concern about. By the way, I didn't like that he said how many husbands divorced their wives after cheating on them. How many women divorced their husbands after cheating on them? It's not a one-way street. Mark Wayne Mullen. All right. I've seen some good stuff from him.
Well, in short, I think.
All right. Here's another. Here's Scott Jennings, the rising star on CNN, the only star on CNN. His thoughts on Pete Hegseth. How did the only thing that's a provision in the Constitution, my understanding, is that it's an advisory role from Congress. All right, you can talk to them and make a recommendation, I guess. It's not really, you don't have to pass their test. They're just going to make their recommendations to you. But Pete Hegseth, how did it go? Here's what Scott Jennings has to say.
Well, in short, I think Pete Hegseth kicked their asses today. I mean, it wasn't even close. They didn't lay a glove on Hegseth. No mistakes, calm, cool, collected. I mean, before the thing even started, you had this like Code Pink, protester freak show trying to disrupt the hearing. That's the Democratic base, by the way, which probably explains why the Democrats on the committee acted in such a bizarre and unprofessional way. I was appalled at some of the way these senators handled themselves and some of the lines of questioning. I mean, Tim Kaine sounded like a sex pervert in his questioning of Pete Hegseth. Blumenthal, who lied about his service in Vietnam, questioning Hegseth's qualifications. You had Gillibrand, you had Warren, you had Hirono going on unhinged rants about things. Angus King obviously doesn't understand what it's like to fight terrorism. On and on and on. Hegseth was cool in the face of this unhinged questioning. They made him look good today. It would be difficult for a Republican to vote against Hegseth after the Democrats' unseemly mudslinging today. Well, I mean,
think that
you can keep trying the Obama doctrine. At this point, please just keep doing it. It's so thoroughly rejected. It's so ridiculous. Everything divided by tribal politics. Talk about the issues. Focus on some of that. That's what we want to see. We want ideas. We'll work with Bobby Kennedy. We'll work with Tulsi. We'll work with anybody that wants to actually get some work done. Roll up the sleeves and get some work done. All they do, well, let's get some more. Senator Gary Peters. Let's see what he had to say. Democrat.
I think that the way to raise the minimum standards of the people who serve us is to lower the standards for the Secretary of Defense, that we have someone who has never managed an organization more than 100 people is going to come in and manage this incredibly important organization and do it with a professionalism and has no experience that they can tell us that they have actually done that. I have real problems with that. This is not about other issues that are brought up. They're all very important. I'm just about trying to get things done, managing efficiently.
By the way, this Senator Gary Peters, his hands are shaking. First it was his left hand, now it's his right. I do kind of zone out. I'm addicted to body language. It doesn't always tell a story. Sometimes it does.
Efficiently and having the best people who have demonstrated that in a large organization. And I'm sorry, but I don't see that in your background. There are a lot of other things you can do very well. You're a capable person, but you have not convinced me that you're able to take on this tremendous responsibility with a complex organization and having little or no significant management experience.
Senator, I'm grateful to be hired by one of the most successful CEOs in American history, should I be confirmed.
Mr. Hegseth.
Yeah, getting hired by one of the most successful CEOs, Donald Trump, in American history, in global history.
So that it seems to me that you've supervised far more people than the average United States senator supervises today.
Mr. Wicker, chairman, for the win.
And
off the top ropes.
Except for former governors, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Mullen.
I think that the...
All right. Oh, I can't. Well, I'm going to play this, but I have to mute. No. How about here's the mood when there's only 7 more days till Trump's in office. I think it's 5 days now. Imagine dancing to your favorite song. really, social media, work with the Recording Industry Association of America with memes and stuff. And when you're briefly using tidbits, snippets of footage, you really got to get it together instead of flagging stuff. Anytime there's like a brief moment where music's playing in the background, get a clue. Make YouTube great again. Google has absolutely ruined it. Like Zuckerberg ruined Meta, and like how Jack Dorsey and the Democrats ruined Twitter. Fix it. Make it better again. Shouldn't have to be terrified here because Rhythm is a Dancer is playing in the background here. You know, that's actually a chance to advertise a 40-year-old song and maybe, you know, get a couple sales out of it. I'm advertising your stuff for free, theoretically.
And if that's happening to me...
Anyway, let's go to this one here. This is Congressman Byron Donald sharing. The Biden administration fired thousands of good soldiers over an experimental vax. Whoop, why is it not playing? Hold on. Where's the volume? Hit reset. Well, let's just...
Peter Max. And if that...
There we go.
And if that's happening to me, Senator, how many other men and women, how many other patriots, how many other people of conscience? We haven't even talked about COVID and the tens of thousands of service members who were kicked out because of an experimental vaccine. In President Trump's Defense Department, they will be apologized to. They will be reinstituted with pay and rank.
Reinstated? I think he was trying to say reinstated. With pay, with rank, back pay. But there needs to be a bonus for pain and suffering. You need to make it hurt. And you need to take it out of Biden's pension. You need to take it out of Pelosi's pension. You need to find a way to hold those people accountable for what they did. Take it out of the charge the DNC, the difference. Send them a bill. Act blue. I don't know what has to be done, but you have to protect us by going after the people that allowed that to happen, the people that created that civil rights violation, and make it punitive so that they know better. We've set a precedent that we can go get them financially, and so that it never happens again. But otherwise, yes, I agree with all of this.
Things like focusing on extremism, Senator, have...
Yes, the Obama doctrine. Now it's like, okay, now white Christian males are the biggest terror threat in the world. You son of a... You dirty dog. Yeah. The Obama doctrine through Biden went after patriots, tried to demonize great Americans because we were the biggest threat to their overthrow, to their subterfuge, to their scams, to their looting, their pillaging, their theft, their treason, all of their fortification attempts to get in charge, stay in charge, and wield being in charge as a weapon against people who have different opinions than they do. Oh, yeah. 5 days away from unleashing Kash Patel on the people that have been committing crime after crime against the American people. Really, for 12 of the last 16 years. You can go back further than that, but I really do think everything sort of changed the moment Barack Obama was allowed into that position. He felt invincible, and he acted like he was invincible. I think the criminality needs to be exposed, and I think the people involved must be indicted. It's that easy.
Have created a climate inside our ranks that feel political when it hasn't ever been political. Those are the types of things that are going to change. And Senator Sullivan, you mentioned that study. After a whole study was held, extremism working group study, 100 extremists were identified in the ranks of 3 million. And most of those were gang related. So it was a made up boogeyman to begin with. And if that...
Yeah,
and if that's happening,
I would love to have some common sense running our most important posts. Oh, this is hilarious. Oh, there were so many good things from Communism Survivor. If there's only one image that accurately described the entire day of Hegseth's confirmation hearing, it would be this. And it really does look like that meme with the cat yelling at the person, or the woman yelling at the cat. This one. That is unbelievably funny. Ugh. That is the most I've ever heard Kirsten Gillibrand talk, and I've had enough. I'm good. I pass on future opportunities to listen to that. Ooh.
Pete,
here we go. Pete, may I ask you questions, or how's it go?
I'm actually going to ask you questions because I want to hear your answer. How many genders are there? Tough one.
Senator, there are 2 genders.
I know that well. I'm a she-he, so I'm on board. Pete, I'm actually going to ask you questions.
She-he is his name. She-he. I'm a she-he. Senator she-he. That's a good that's a good pronoun joke right there. I'm just going to tear through all these. This was a really good dump. I actually commented this person. I sent him a message. I said, keep it up. You're putting really a nice body of work out there. Thank you to this communism survivor. Kaneko the Great put out, Elizabeth Warren will be furious when she finds out they put Jimmy Carter on Pete Hegseth's tattoo. There it is. The Jimmy Carter funeral. There it is. And there's the tattoo. Elizabeth Warren complains about Pete Hegseth's Christian tattoo. Calls him an insider.
On what is this very offensive, extremist, racist tattoo that you have?
It's a tattoo I have right here, Senator. It's called the Jerusalem Cross. It's a historic Christian symbol. In fact, interestingly, recently I attended briefly the memorial ceremony of former President Jimmy Carter. On the floor of our National Cathedral, on the front page of his program, was the very same Jerusalem Cross. It is a Christian religious symbol.
So there you go.
Tens of thousands of service members who were kicked out because of an experimental vaccine. In President Trump's Defense Department, they will be apologized to. They will be reinstituted with pay and rank.
Anyway,
Secretary of Defense, will you...
Here's a new one. Yeah, this fascination with putting women on the front lines to get exploded. That's your Democrat Party for you. Does that make sense?
Support women continuing to have the opportunity to serve in combat roles.
And by the way, I've thought about this. If any woman in high school wants to play middle linebacker or wide receiver, they can. I'm not entirely certain that that's a great idea. It is way more punishing and physical than perhaps you understand. But I think if somebody insists upon doing it and they're able to do it, so be it. But we don't need to increase our numbers like that. This is the DEI thing. It's like, well, not enough. You know, they would look at suicide statistics with men and go, oh, man, 97% of suicides are men. We need to get those numbers up. Come on, ladies. More of you need to off yourselves. No, not your kids. Just you. These quotas, these arbitrary, everything has to be even is really weird. So, yeah, Joni Ernst is bringing this up here.
Senator, first of all, thank you for your service, as we discussed extensively as well.
It's my privilege.
And my answer is yes, exactly the way that you caveated it.
There is a caveat. You have to say, if you do everything to the highest standards, we're not going to lower our standards just to accommodate making some arbitrary percentage goals.
Yes, women will have access to ground combat roles, given the standards remain high, and we'll have a review to ensure the standards have not been eroded. In any one of these cases.
It sounds like everybody's going to have to retest. Oh, boy.
That'll be part of one of the first things we do at the Pentagon is reviewing that in a gender neutral way, the standards, ensuring readiness and meritocracy is front and center.
And by the way, you saw that video of, it. It almost appears to be a parody. It's a woman firefighter, I think from the Los Angeles area. saying, oh, well, you're not going to be strong enough to carry my husband out of a house. And she responds, well, if he's in a fire, it looks like he put himself into some bad situations. It's not my responsibility to carry him out of a burning house. Now, I watch that. I still don't understand what that is that I saw. It feels like a comedy sketch, but I'm terrified because I don't think it is. I'm not entirely certain. I'll take a fact check on that. But yeah, you have to carry a rucksack of 100 pounds or 80 pounds or 60 pounds, whatever the metrics are. You need to know that everybody can do the job. And if you can't, then you don't do that job. Oh, that's sexist. No, it's not. It's competence-ist. Competence-ist. Doesn't roll off the tongue, but yeah, meritocracy needs to be front and center.
But absolutely, it would be the privilege of a lifetime to, if confirmed, to be the Secretary of Defense for all men and women in uniform who fight so heroic. They have so many other options. They decide to put their right hand up for our country, and it would be an honor to have a chance to lead.
Secretary of
President-elect has attacked.
By the way, they're talking about Congress people being drunk. This person on the left sounds very drunk.
Defense, will you support
our allies?
I'm not saying that they are, but they're talking as if they are. Let's take a look.
Recent weeks, refusing to rule out using military force to take over Greenland and the Panama Canal, and threatening to make Canada the 51st state. Would you carry out an order from President Trump to seize Greenland, a territory of our NATO ally Denmark, by force, or would you comply with an order to take over the Panama Canal?
Senator, I will emphasize that President Trump received 77 million votes to be the lawful commander-in-chief of this country.
We're not talking about the election. My question is, would you use our military to take over Greenland or an ally of Denmark?
Senator, one of the things that President Trump is so good at is never strategically tipping his hand. And so I would never in this public forum give one way or another direct what orders the president would give me in any context.
That sounds to me that you would contemplate carrying out such an order to basically invade Greenland and take over the Panama Canal. President-elect has attacked.
Yeah, that's got them big mad. And then you look at the map and look up Canada, look up to Greenland, and it does sort of make a lot of sense. I'm not really saying a 51st state, but I am saying a territory, a partnership. Maybe we could manage it. I mean, come on, the opportunities to get new land, they're not out there. And this wouldn't be through force or through bombs. This would be through partnership negotiations. Remember Captain Seward and his folly, the purchase of Alaska. I'm glad we have Alaska. And if you can do these things through making a deal, not through force, but really, I mean, ask the people of Canada, do they feel like Trudeau deserved that position? Do they feel as though somebody installed him to start prioritizing non-Canadians over Canadians and importing millions of non-Canadians into Canada to try to forever change the demographics of that country, to make them unsafe at the borders, inside their territory, by going after free speech, by going after self-defense? They went after the right for Canadians to defend themselves. I'm sorry, anyone that's doing that is a tyrant. So yeah, a strategic partnership. I am sort of all about this. I am sort of all about this.
In other words, you're quite sure that every general who serves should not go directly into the defense industry for 10 years. You're not willing to make that same pledge?
I'm not a general, Senator.
Yeah, like I said, I think that's a little out of context, perhaps.
Do you know that being drunk at work is prohibited for service members under the UCMJ?
I'm not saying she is drunk. I am saying she sounds drunk. Let's see.
Words.
Oh, okay.
Senator, those are multiple false anonymous reports peddled by NBC News that run directly contradictory to the dozens of men and women at Fox News Channel who I work with
I'm not hearing the answer to my question. Do you know that being drunk at work is prohibited for service members under the UCMJ?
Yeah, she does sound drunk.
cleared, can you so casually cheat on a second wife and cheat on the mother of a child that had been born 2 months before, and you tell us you are completely cleared? How is that a complete clear?
Senator, her child's name.
By the way, look at that Tim Walz hairdo. He looks like a mad scientist.
Is Gwendolyn Hope Hegseth, and she's a child of God, and she's 7 years old.
And she was, and you cheated on the mother of that child less than 2 months after that daughter was born, didn't you?
Those were false charges.
Well,
it was fully investigated, and I was completely cleared. And I
completely cleared. Can you?
So there's that. You know, and there's a point. You don't want somebody who's vulnerable to being sucked into a honeypot. What's a honeypot? I mean, think Diddy, think Epstein, think. You ever had somebody come on to you a little too strong? Like, what are you selling, sweetheart? What are you selling? So you don't want to put someone there like Hunter Biden, who's going to become so blackmailable, so bribable, so buyable, so guilty of so many things that like you now become the property of the people blackmailing. That's what the point of this line of questioning is. And to a degree, I think that's fair. But where were these people asking Hunter Biden these questions? Oh, that's right, because Hunter didn't even register as a foreign agent. Huh. It's almost as if. Okay, let's not go there. This is hilarious. All these Democrat ladies, this post saying this might be worse than being in actual combat.
Our veterans organizations that will help our veterans get every damn thing that they deserve because they signed on the dotted line to keep us safe. Just like are you willing to support our veterans organizations that will help our veterans get every damn thing that they deserve because they signed on the dotted line to keep us safe. Just like
Because there's a lot about qualifications, and I think it's so hypocritical of senators, especially on the other side of the aisle, be talking about the senator from Virginia starts bringing up the fact that what if about his qualifications, not going to lead the secretary or be the Secretary of Defense, and yet your qualifications aren't any better. You guys aren't any more qualified to be the senator than I'm qualified to be the senator, except we're lucky enough to be here. But let me read you what the qualifications of the Secretary of Defense is. But in general, the U.S. Secretary of Defense position is filled by a civilian. That's it.
That's it.
If you have served in the U.S. Army Forces and have been in the service for, you have to be retired for at least 7 years, and Congress can weigh that. And then there's questions that the senator from.
So, you know, it's a little bit much ado about nothing, but I think he did pretty well. He's a 20-year veteran with 2 Bronze Stars and a Combat Infantryman badge after tours in Iraq and Afghanistan and guard at Guantanamo Bay. He has 2 Ivy League degrees. He's a tireless advocate for veterans. Pete Hegseth is our next Secretary of Defense. Here's one more clip.
You've conducted yourself very well today. In fact, so well that I believe it's incumbent upon this committee to confirm you ASAP to get you on the job, to clean up the mess that we have at the Pentagon ongoing at this moment because of the leadership there over the last 4 years that's failed us. Mr. Hegseth, you've conducted yourself.
A lack of leadership, maybe. John Thune, the Senate Majority Leader, is indicating Pete Hegseth has the necessary votes for confirmation as Secretary of Defense. Shrieking at the skies. All right. Anyway.
Pete, I'm actually going to ask you a question.
Following communism survivor. Good stuff there.
In other words,
are you willing to support our veterans organizations that will help our veterans get every damn thing that they deserve because they signed on the dotted line?
I saw another post that said, this is what it's like being married.
Yeah,
these are some
that he refuses.
This is part of the reason why the Democrats are fans of Pete Hegseth, because he's not playing the woke game.
Is to affirm wokeness, that he refuses to affirm that men and women are physically and biologically capable of the exact same things, particularly under the stresses of combat. Actually, I've got a quick clip. Let's play it right here from Senator Gillibrand, where she talks about this.
Military should be allowed to serve without limitation. You've said yes to that question. But then in all of these other circumstances, you've denigrated active duty service members. We have hundreds of women who are currently in the infantry, lethal members of our military serving in the infantry, but you degrade them. You say, we need moms, but not in the military, especially in combat units.
We need moms in combat units. That's Kirsten Gillibrand. This is where the wages of wokeness will take you. We need moms in combat units. Imagine sitting. I was watching this with Tanya Tay earlier today. I was not in the office. I was home because we were dealing with some sick kids back home. A little bit of that Nova virus going around. And Tanya.
By the way, have you caught that bug that's been going around? I had it a couple weeks ago. Got it early. Hopefully got it out of my system, got my antibodies.
Tanya Tay has been an absolute warrior, by the way, not on the front lines of the battlefield in, I don't know, Afghanistan or Ukraine. She's been a warrior at home taking care of the kids because they're sick with Nova virus. But even Tanya pointed out, she said to me, what kind of a country sends moms to the front lines? What kind of a country has government officials and puts this as their top priority, that moms need to be sent into the battlefield and sent into war? It's ridiculous. It makes no sense whatsoever. But yet that is the situation for the people, at least, who are losing. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? This issue was asked and answered at the ballot box on November 5th, 2020.
Yeah, make it make sense.
He refuses to affirm.
There's plenty of roles that you can serve in. I mean, go ahead, make your strongest argument for why moms need to be thrown into the meat grinder in Ukraine. They're not conscripting Ukrainian women and Russian women to go get exploded on the front lines. There's your male privilege right there. Anyway, here's a Gavin Newsom post as we try to unpack Los Angeles and the aftermath.
So Gavin Newsom put up a website to combat.
We did cover this yesterday, but here it is in a nice compact format here. What Gavin Newsom put out on his website.
Misinformation about all the fires in California. It's called CaliforniaFireFacts.com. So when you go to that website, it takes you to Gavin Newsom's website where you can donate, and you'll see it says like donate to California Fire Foundation, whatever. So this says it goes directly to the victims affected by the fires, but look at who's managing this. So when you look at the small print of who's actually processing those donations, it's Act Blue. What is Act Blue, you say? Well, it literally says on there, it's about powering Democratic and progressive candidates.
And by the way, Act Blue has been exposed by James O'Keefe, at least accused of, and I think the evidence seems to bear it out. I'm not sure if that's in court right now or if it needs to be. If it's not currently in court, it needs to be. Trying to put sock puppet people as regular donors. Oh, this guy at 123 Main Street contributes $73,000 every 6 weeks. Yeah, that guy's on welfare. He just sits there. He doesn't have money to donate. You're just routing it through him, or you're money laundering it through Act Blue to your preferred candidates. It's all money laundering. It's time to unravel all of this stuff, all this Soros money, the deep state Obama, Biden, Harris, Pelosi, deep state money.
So yes, whatever money people are donating towards people who are victims of these fires, of course, portions that are going to go into these things like Act Blue for progressive Democratic candidates. So
instead of what they think they're donating to, which is to help the relief efforts. That's what was going on with BLM. Patrisse Cullors. People are like, oh, I don't know, we need to help the black community. She helped herself to 3 mansions. You guys got played on that one.
So yeah, it's going towards political campaigns for the people that are ruining our state. So Gavin Newsom put up a website.
So there needs to be an investigation into misrepresentation in that case. All right, here's Bannon talking about what we should expect.
Dasha, I think it's going to be much more intense. We refer to it right now.
What we should expect. Here we go, in the first 100 days. And that starts in about 5 days. Let's go.
We refer to it right now as days of thunder. And I think the days of thunder, I think these days of thunder starting next week are just going to be incredibly, incredibly intense. I think you're going to see 50 executive orders. You're going to see a lot of legislation put forward. You're going to see the beginning of it today with Pete Hegseth. So this is going to be quite intense. It's going to be 10 to the 10th power more intense, I believe, than the shock and awe we did in 16 and 17, because remember, there's been 4 years of preparation here. You know, say what you will about Project 2025 and other projects like that at these other think tanks and other groups, but we spent years, people developing the policies, developing the executive orders, seeing the direction of where we want to take this movement, and also developing personnel. You're going to see many more people hit the beach, many more cabinet people get confirmed much quicker. You're going to have much more thought through ideas. There are going to be many more executive orders. And most of these, I think at the beginning, or all of them at the beginning, the 50 that I think hit right away, will have Office of Legal Counsel opinions on them. So I tell people, shock and awe was a 17 concept. Days of thunder, I think, are going to be the concept starting next Monday, because I believe President Trump is going to hit it, and hit it hard, with what I call, or Bartley at Wall Street Journal called muzzle velocity. Those types of driving force of policies and personnel to get things done and get them done quickly.
So that's what you might be able to expect in the first 100 days of the Trump presidency. All right. This is James O'Keefe. I believe this guy's since been fired.
Henry Appel, National Security Council. Hi, I'm James O'Keefe, investigative reporter and muckraker. This is you on hidden camera. Cool. Hey, you're lucky I'm not a Chinese spy. You are a very lucky man that I'm not a Chinese spy. But I gotta ask you a question. What the hell is the guy who's an advisor to the National Security Council doing, spilling the quote tea to an undercover journalist?
Well, here's the tea. Joe Biden is like dead. We're Trump funded.
What type of national security operation you boys running in the United States government?
So that was what talking about Joe Biden being out to lunch, like he's totally gone. It's essentially dead. You know, being propped up by puppet strings like Weekend at Bernie's. Am I understanding this video clip right? Is that the context here?
And you used to be a spy.
For a while, I thought I was going to be a spy.
You thought what?
I thought I was going to be a spy. And I did that for a little while.
What type of spy are you? So where are you going? So we're here in Washington with the spy who works for the United States government, who's, quote, spilling the tea. Now, this is you talking about Biden being, quote, dead.
Joe Biden is like dead. He can't say a sentence.
These are your words.
He can't say.
I'm going to play them for you here.
Joe Biden is like...
He's like dead. You also tell an anecdote where you're on the phone with the president. He didn't even know that the guy that he was asking for was right next to him.
My boss was on an international trip with him, like in Europe or something. The phone rang in the office, and I picked it up. And I was like, "Oh, this president, Henry." He was like, "You stayed there." He's like, "No, he's traveling with you. He's on the same trip that you are."
And you work for the National Security Council as an advisor, and you're saying all these things to a rando. What if that random person was a Chinese spy? Is that what they teach you in intel school? What do you feel like? You're about to be famous. And by the way, what was it like to cry those tears when Trump won? You said you're concerned about being retaliated against.
There were a lot of tears the next morning. Sure. We're also concerned about Trump coming after us.
What was it like to cry? There he goes.
Coming after us, going after traitors. All right. I mean, you have a responsibility if the person who's running the country is incapacitated, by the way. Anyway, here's what the leftist media is trying to say about the California wildfires. We did the clown emoji.
Wildfires raging in LA are highlighting the risk of climate change.
Wildfires in California are the latest in a string of natural disasters made worse by climate change.
No, we don't know that this is a natural disaster by any stretch of the imagination. No, we do not.
A big part of why we're seeing more wildfires is climate change.
You don't know that that's accurate.
We're going to talk about these destructive fires compounded by climate.
A lot of compounded by climate. These cookies have been compounded by flour.
People talking about climate change.
Climate change set up the conditions for this supercharged.
Climate change? We have a climate and it's always changing. What does that phrase even mean? Climate change. The conditions are that you haven't been removing the deadfall and the underbrush. The conditions are that you haven't filled your cisterns full of water in case of emergency. That's not climate related. That's stupidity related.
Fire exacerbated and increased by climate change.
We don't know that anything was exacerbated or increased by climate change.
Climate change, which is political, but is clearly a major driver here.
Climate change will
it is political.
Only make wildfires more common.
If the climate changes to a more rainy climate, that would not be accurate, Al.
We continue covering these destructive wildfires out west. The state's governor, LA's mayor, they are really fending off attacks.
Oh my God, is that Victoria Nuland?
Attacks from Donald Trump and his allies.
Donald Trump is blaming President Biden and Governor Newsom for these fires.
It is a
Yeah, the cisterns were empty. The budget was slashed for firefighting. Competent people, firefighters, were fired for not taking an experimental medical treatment. The fleets of trucks were not serviceable. If the video that I watched was accurate, showing, I can't even count how many in this massive chain link fenced in store yard of Los Angeles Fire Department trucks and equipment that's waiting to be serviced instead of getting fixed and being deployed immediately. Diverting water up north because of a delta smelt instead of bringing all that free, fresh water down to where it can be used in all those places that are always crying, we're in a drought, we're in a drought, we're in a drought. Then take the water from the record runoff and do something with it. This isn't rocket science.
Warren Page in Trump's playbook.
This is classic deflection because he doesn't want to talk about climate change.
Deflection? Trump was there talking to Newsom to his face about what he's not doing right. He's saying, I met with the leader of Finland. They call themselves a forest nation. And you have to rake the forest floor. You got to grab all the dead stuff, throw it in a wood chipper. You got to clear this stuff out because it's kindling. One spark can ignite all this, and you have high winds, it'll transfer it. They weren't prioritizing that. They're prioritizing DEI, which is destructive.
Amplify lies and direct blame at perceived political enemies.
Now they're saying that forest management is a lie. That diverting clean, fresh water from where the delta smelt and extinct fish up there, bring it down to middle California, central California, southern California, instead of a bullet train to nowhere. Yeah, your priorities are out of whack. DEI initiatives, out of whack. You have competency initiatives that you're failing. This isn't Trump redirecting the situation. He's focusing on the problem. You'll never fix California until you fix the inept leadership of Karen Bass, Gavin Newsom, and the Democrat Party, who will not prioritize the proper things.
Everything except talking about the intensifying climate crisis.
How do you
prove that there's an intensifying climate crisis? Climate refers to all the types of weather. Once again, if the climate is changing, when it changes to rainy, tell me how there's going to be more fires. This statement that they're repeating makes no sense.
Approach an issue like climate change.
You might expect that Americans' worry about climate change would climb.
Oh no, he's going to say 1991. I saw this guy a few minutes ago.
Americans are definitely interested in learning about these wildfires, but they are not making that connection with climate change. So despite all these extreme weather events, Americans...
It's an extreme weather event. The weather always has extreme weather events. There have always been tornadoes and floods and hurricanes and earthquakes. Now, the question is, how many more of these events are being caused by the powers that be? What really happened in Maui? How much of that was intentional? Are there smart cities that you can't build one in the prime real estate until you clear all the other stuff? What's the quickest way to do that? Huge flash flood, North Carolina. Maui, Los Angeles, fire. Whether it is intentional, not W-E-A-T-H-E-R, like the weather, I mean weather, W-H-E-T-H-E-R. Whether or not it's intentional, instantly switching over to, hey, I can't wait to rebuild all this and the smart city idea, it feels grotesque. It feels as grotesque as the Planned Parenthood lady selling parts like it's a fish market.
Are really no more worried about climate change than they were, what is that, now nearly 35 years ago? I mean, there's just no real trend line here, Mr. Berman.
So the question is why?
Why?
Wildfires raging in LA are highlighting the risk of climate change.
Wildfires in Cali.
All right, there we go. So that's what they're pushing, and it ain't working. So that's good. Here's a different one. This is the O'Keefe one that
I work at this top consulting firm, and my client is the Pentagon. So I'm embedded in the Pentagon. I work in the Joint Staff, which is the top military command. When she lost, I went into the intelligence community and I became an FBI special agent. So I became a spy hunter. So I was a counterintelligence agent, special agent at the FBI.
What's your overall assessment of Trump?
He's a sociopathic narcissist who is only...
Making America great is the equivalent to these deep state hacks of being a sociopathic narcissist, only interested in himself.
Interested in advancing his name, his wealth, and his fame.
Is there anything you can do to protect American people from stuff that he might try to do?
I'm in conversation.
Yeah, we shared with you the other O'Keefe thing, but this is the big O'Keefe thing. Holy crap. This is treason right here. He's in a conversation with a couple of retired generals. Remember the 92 senior White House official, the former CIA agents that came out and said that Hunter Biden's laptop had all the classic earmarks of Russian disinformation when they were lying to us about all the bribery and blackmail, how controllable Hunter Biden and therefore Joe Biden were to the CCP and the people that had all of that blackmail on him, on them. Remember when they all came out and lied? Oh, good. Well, this guy's talking to some retired generals. I wonder how this is going to go.
Conversation with a couple of retired generals to try to explore what we can do.
Who were the retired generals that you were going to talk to?
They're like 1, 2, or 3-star generals and admirals. You probably know maybe 4 stars. So I also have a big day tomorrow.
This appears to be over the course of several dates, so this is interesting.
Probably the biggest day of all. So we have this huge meeting with military leaders.
Jamie Manina, Senior Advisor, Joint Staff, Department of Defense, former Special Agent, FBI, former Special Assistant to Hillary Clinton. Oh, yes. I'm looking forward to the Hillary and Obama indictments and investigations.
In a very secure room called The Tank.
Ooh.
So we have a tank meeting with all of the top.
The tank should be like a SCIF, a secure compartmentalized information facility.
Leaders in the United States military tomorrow on my topic that I prepared.
So it went well.
I think it went well. It's very sensitive information. We're gonna have to keep it between us.
Sensitive information we got to keep between us. A SCIF is a sensitive compartmentalized information facility. All right.
I specialize in artificial intelligence and emerging technologies like quantum, cybersecurity.
Okay. What's quantum? I haven't heard of it.
Quantum is incredibly fast supercomputing that doesn't yet exist but will soon exist.
And there are thoughts about quantum computing and supercomputers, and is it what they think it is? How did he say that it doesn't exist, but it will? Well, maybe it will, and maybe it won't. Remember when people thought the Big Bang, hey, nothing created everything? Huh? Okay. We all thought that for a while. The Earth revolves around, the sun revolves around the Earth. We all thought that for a while.
And when it does, it will change.
Maybe it will, but there are current conversations about that, about will AI ever be useful? Will it be monetizable? Will it be trustworthy? Can it be, accurate? Will, quantum computing, will it be what we think it's going to be, or will it fall short? There's questions like that.
Everything.
Hegseth.
Hegseth.
Hegseth. Who's that?
Secretary of Defense.
He's cheated on all of his wives, all of his girlfriends. He's had some sexual assault allegations. He's an alcoholic. There's a lot of observations of him drinking.
You're not a spy? You're not trying to collect information from me?
I wish I was. That'd be cool.
Well, with me, literally with a former FBI agent, so you're gonna be safe.
There you go. It looks like they're currently trying to sabotage President Trump again. So stay tuned on that. About the rebuilding in California, I like what Jillian Michaels has done. She found her voice. I heard Scott Adams say something interesting about, anytime somebody comes out, it's like Stephen A. Smith. Well, yeah, you're saying some positive things about, I knew these Trump allegations were BS from the beginning, and I've known the guy for years. Well, it's like, well, yeah, you're saying it now when it's safe to say it now. Thanks for nothing. We could have used this when you were lying to us and gaslighting the country into like these racist meltdowns that Obama's pulling the puppet strings on to cause brain damage to the people that he's pumping through his Smith-Munt media to make people think all sorts of lies just to demonize Trump and maintain power. Didn't matter how much psychological damage Obama was causing to everybody. We could have really used Stephen A. Smith speaking up then. So in the same regard, it's like, I love Jillian Michaels, what she's getting into and saying now. It's like, well, where were you all those years ago? Okay, but like Scott says, it's like everything good takes too long. So don't have that frame of mind for anybody who's now coming around and opening up. Like, welcome them to the team. You joined the right team. Your team common sense. You're not team Republican. Don't ever get that twisted, Kevin McCarthy. Don't ever get that twisted. Liz Cheney, Kinzinger, don't ever think Americans give a shit about the Republican Party. They don't. They like MAGA because MAGA is not about Republicans. It's about the country. It's about common sense and reality. Republicans, Democrats have often been two wings of the same dirty bird, but MAGA is very different. So I don't know why my first reaction there was to give Jillian shit. I don't know how long she's been vocal. It feels like she's more vocal now, but yeah, I mean, Patriots, timid. Mark Twain said, in the beginning of a change, the patriot is a scarce man and brave and hated and scorned. When his cause succeeds, the timid join him, for then it costs nothing to be a patriot. So anyway, apology to Jillian Michaels. I had nothing wrong with you, and I liked your workout program as well. But here she is talking about California. Welcome to the team. Glad you're speaking out now. Here she goes. There we go.
I am uniquely acquainted with it. I have been through it, and everything that Adam
talking about all of the problems with getting anything approved in California. It's madness. Madness. And or it's piracy and money laundering. Everybody has to dip their beaks and get a 10% bonus off of it. It's mafia. It's crazy. These people need to all be fired, and a new system that makes sense need to be instituted. You can't prioritize the wrong environmental thing when it causes 1,000 times worse of a problem because of it. Oh, this tiny little area for the Delta smelt. Now all our reservoirs are dry. Oh, there's underbrush. There's a little shrew or something. We need to protect it, protect it, protect it. You want to protect something, send it to the zoos. Get it into other environments, work with other colleges. There's other ways to do it than only doing it in that one area that's preventing all of the growth and infrastructure necessary to building a society that works for we the people. So yeah, Corolla, Bill Maher, Jillian Michaels. I worked in property management. My God, the amount of stuff that we had to do to jump through hoops, the environmental studies and stuff to just get approved to build something basic. Jillian's talking about it. And she mentions what Adam Carolla said is true, and she tells her story.
Corolla is saying about good luck getting your permit to rebuild. It took me a year to get a permit to clean up. To clean up. Wow. The pool was filled with, I don't even want to, dead animals that were trying to escape the fire, toxins from the house, but I couldn't drain the pool. A year just to clean up the fire damage, to get a permit to clean up the fire damage. This is just beginning in California.
That is insanity.
I am uniquely acquainted.
You have to fire all of these people. Let's see what Bannon has to say.
Green, you were there.
We'll start wrapping today's show up. If you have any questions, any stories that I haven't commented on, let me know. Type it below. This feels like one that I shared earlier. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Oh, no, this is Maureen Bannon talking about Hegseth's confirmation hearings. This is a new piece.
There today, actually, in support of Pete Hegseth. You were out there earlier, and then you sat in. Tell me, put us in the room. Just give us your impression of having sat in there, which is supposed to be a confirmation hearing. What I was shocked is that we didn't hear the Democrats the entire time, and we played the entire first round of questions on the morning show, and didn't hear one significant real policy question from any of the Democrats, just tearing at him on all these personal issues. So, Mo, put us in the room. How was it?
You're correct. It was truly an honor to be in that room in support of Pete Hegseth. And you're correct with regards to the Democrats. They, honestly, the female Democrats on the Armed Services Committee were trying to outdo themselves one after the other on who could be the most unhinged with their line of questioning or lack thereof, because all they wanted to do was attack Pete Hegseth and mistakes that had been made in the past, or even potential mistakes. You know, a lot of them are false allegations. However, they didn't have a lot of questions, like you said, about policy and what he's going to do as the head of the Department of Defense, as the SecDef. That's where their line of questioning should have been. We saw that from Republicans, and a lot of them, you know, they asked him different questions regarding policy and even different questions regarding what it means to be a war fighter. And we saw just how strong and qualified Pete Hegseth is to be the SecDef by his answers to Republicans' questions.
What is this whole thing about women in combat? I mean, you served, you went over to Iraq, you deployed, you know, during, I think it was 2010, 2011. What is this whole thing about this controversy, women in combat, combat arms? What's the difference? Walk us through it.
So the Democrats today, as we saw from the hearing, had a lot of questions regarding the comments that Pete Hegseth has made regarding women in combat, and they held on to women in combat. They claim that he doesn't want women to deploy. That is a false statement. Pete Hegseth would be in support and is in support of what I did when I deployed to Iraq. I was in combat, but I was a combat support position. I supported those on the front line, and that's what Pete Hegseth is saying when he makes that statement. He is saying that women should deploy. They should be in combat support. We should not be on the front lines in combat arms.
So, combat support roles or on the front lines of a meat grinder? Oh my God, you mean the guy's chivalrous? He's trying to protect our fairer sex. Like I said, it's kind of like football. If you really, really, really want to try out for the football team, try to catch a pass over the middle and get laid out by a linebacker. Let's see if you still want to play football tomorrow. If you insist, and some people will, and I think if people choose to insist, then so be it. But I don't think it should be the default setting.
And I agree with Pete Hegseth in that statement.
Green, you were there today.
So Anyway, the Hegseth thing kind of fell flat as we sort of knew it was going to. Let's move on to the next one. Yeah, just, I don't know, saw this and wanted to share. It doesn't really fit in to the other stories, but this is a story about NSA whistleblower Thomas Drake. Tulsi Gabbard is already changing her opinion on the spy tactics now that she's going to be working in the upper levels of this government. You see her waffling, flip-flopping, changing her opinion, evolving, whatever you want to call it. It's just kind of like, where are we at now? Well, here's just something to remember about the NSA whistleblower whose life was destroyed.
Whistleblowers are protected, and they should be protected.
Some are. Tom Drake was a senior intelligence service officer at NSA. His first day was September 11th. He became aware immediately after 9/11.
Your first day was September 11th. Could you imagine?
Of the plan to initiate warrantless wiretapping of American citizens. General Hayden, who at the time was the head of NSA, this is before he went over to CIA, said 9/11 was the opportunity that NSA had been waiting for, to just vacuum up everything and then sort it out later. So Tom went to the general counsel, and the general counsel had not been read into the program. And so the general counsel said, I don't know what you're talking about. There's nothing I can do. He went to the inspector general. The inspector general said that this was over his pay grade and that he should go to the DOD inspector general. He went to the DOD Inspector General with documents. DOD Inspector General leaked the information back to NSA and said, you have a rogue officer here, which was illegal. He was supposed to be protected. When the DOD IG never did anything, Tom went to the HPSI, the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, turned everything over, was charged with 9 felonies, including 7 counts of espionage. On the day that he was arrested and his house was raided, his wife was also an NSA, a senior intelligence service officer. And the FBI went and said, we've arrested your husband this morning and we're raiding your house right now. You're either with him or you're with us. And she chose them. He lost his pension. He lost his 5 kids. He lost his wife. He lost his house. He lost his career. And then when he went bankrupt, they dropped all the charges.
Whistleblowers are.
We need a government that works for us, not against us. Hey, here's a good point about the Hegseth hearings.
If you're paying any attention to anything over the years, it just makes you laugh. As the Democrats today on the panel, what's the top concern? What's the thing they talked about the most? The thing they tried to defend the most? The things they were sure about and had pure definitions for the most? What was it? Women.
Yep. They know what women are?
They know what women are, and they defend women today to the hilt.
And they can define them.
And they can define them. They care about them. They want to know where they should be, what they should be included in, what they should not be included in.
Wow.
They're all over it today. And as these phonies are questioning Pete Hegseth about women, and women are this and women are that. I was just waiting for one of those, when the glasses drop down and it's like na da 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 da, and it's one of those
Yes.
thug moments.
Yep.
I was waiting for Pete Hegseth to say, now I just want to clarify here. When you say woman, could you define who you're speaking of? I just wanted them to ask one of these phony gold-plated phonies, just one of them, who were so sure today.
That's so true. You need to chamber that and get ready to use that. Turn it back on them.
About what a woman is and where she belongs and what her right, all of this. But for 4 years, in a Supreme Court justice, they couldn't tell us what a woman is.
Yep.
And they can play in men's sports, men can get pregnant. There's 16 million genders, but today, one. Only one, and we're focused on it. And it's women. It just drives you crazy. Oh, we're worried about audits today, too, by the way. Oh.
Yep.
Well, it gives you you think we're going to get it all. Oh, you're worried about spending now. Oh, you're worried about tracking the money now. Oh,
you better be worried about tracking that money that you've looted from the American people. TikTok.
Oh, you're worried about finding out where all this money goes. Wow. You guys are like different people today. Stunning what you're interested in.
It was a day of revelation.
Yeah, it's so interesting what they were all about today. Audits, money spending, making sure they can track where the money goes, qualifications, women. I mean, all of these things that, I don't know. They don't seem to have cared for 4 years and longer than that, but let's just take this administration for the conversation's sake. Amazing. What the turnaround. Amazing turnaround today.
It showed their obsession in DEI, CRT, LGBTQ, all of those things, their obsession with these sensibilities.
That is the Obama doctrine.
As opposed to looking at this as what's best for the country or how we're going to be defended more properly. This is where all the questions seem to go. Not just women, but all of these issues. And Pete was awesome on the subject. I thought he had the strongest answers you can. I'm for all this, as long as the best person is put in place.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we all would agree with that. None of us care. I'm for all of it. Just put the best person in.
Just put the damn best person in.
Right.
That's exactly right.
Pretty simple.
So, if you've got...
We're ready to hit a renaissance age in America. Yeah.
You know, when you get old in life, things get taken from you. I mean, that's part of life. But you only learn that when you start losing stuff. You find out life's this game of inches. The margin for error is so small. I mean, 1/2 a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast.
Oh, I wonder if this is going to get flagged because we're playing this audio clip. You gotta get your copyright stuff together, YouTube. Make YouTube great again. This is Al Pacino. Any Given Sunday, I think. It's a game of inches. But we're adding unique original commentary to it. This is about the greatest American political comeback in history. Or the greatest comeback in American political history. I think I said it differently. But yeah, it's a game of inches. God, that Butler, Pennsylvania, that's the only move the deep state had. They had zero chance of convincing the American people that Kamala Harris or Joe Biden were a better answer. We've been subjected to 4 years of hell. And in comparison to what 4 years was before that, it's obvious that we can never go back to whatever this Biden puppet presidency, the third Obama term, has been.
You don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us.
It was that close.
They're in every break of the game.
And these inches are around us in every location. Did you spend a little bit of extra time with your loved ones today? Did you spend a little extra time working out today? Did you floss? Did you clean up? Did you level up? Did you work a little harder? Did you do a little bit more? Did you complete another project? There's inches everywhere. All day long, there's 100 opportunities to level up and be better. Are you taking those chances?
Every minute, every second. On this team, we fight for that inch.
There we go. Fight, fight, fight. This is
On
well
this
done.
team, we tear ourselves and everyone else around us to pieces for that inch. We claw with our fingernails for that inch. Because we know.
It was such a wild moment. It's so surreal to watch.
When we add up all those inches, that's gonna make the fucking difference between winning and losing.
Inches equal yards. Ounces equal pounds. Little things.
Between living and dying. I'll tell you this.
How many of you have worked your ass off for 4 years to try to reverse course?
Fight. It's the guy who's willing to die who's going to win that inch.
You might defeat me, but you're not going to outwork me. That's a mentality. That's an American mentality. That's a winner mentality. My God, you never saw anybody work that hard on a campaign trail than what Trump did. As an old man who got shot, had his head shot. He worked tirelessly, went places you never thought a Republican would go to, and it worked. He earned it. He fought inch by inch on in every place he could find an inch, he went for it.
And I know if I'm going to have any life anymore, it's because I'm still willing to fight and die for that inch.
That inch.
You know, when you get
That's well done. I like this mashup. I believe that is from Any Given Sunday. Yeah. That's a good one. I recommend that. Okay, just another couple here, and then we will move on. Here's Rogan and his guests kind of mocking what the Democrats are trying to sell you.
This is climate change.
About the fires that appear to be obvious arson and mismanagement. A blend of mismanagement, arson.
Borderline Jew.
No, I'm doing a New York thing. I'm doing a New York thing. Then I'm doing the Jew. But when I talk like this is a whiny liberal. It's fucking climate change. Wake up. No, it's arson, you fucking idiots.
I don't really watch Rogan these days. Nothing intentional. It just doesn't come across my feed. But I like the clips. Yeah, I mean, once again, is this something all of the people who are looking at the obvious are reaching a conclusion on, that this is arson? We've seen the videos of people getting arrested. We have piles of mugshots of people getting arrested for arson, for looting. And it seems to be as if in 2025, all of the sleeper cells have been activated. Go cause as much chaos as possible. And that's what we felt like Obama, Biden have been infiltrating and flooding our country with non-Americans, fighting age males, so that they could start problems in this country. How much damage, death, destruction, disability, the crippling destruction has occurred because of these fires. So I'm glad, Joe's seeing it that way.
I think it's Mr. Beast. He's setting up a new video.
Mark Normand. I saw him recently. He's a good comic. I like Mark Normand. Joking that this is Mr. Beast setting up a new video.
Oh, that's a strong accusation.
Bold.
No, just kidding. But they've been trying to get rid of the homeless for a while.
Bro, the homeless are doing it.
Well, they're flammable.
Everyone is, but they're more inclined to use fire to get their anger out.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, Huberman actually caught people lighting things on fire. He filmed it. He put it up on his Instagram.
I watched
it.
Yeah. In the middle of the firestorm, people were lighting things on fire to contribute to the fire.
Wow.
You've got losers.
Whoa.
You have 100,000 losers that are just camping on your street. What do you think's going to happen? What do you think's going to happen when the people with the houses are in jeopardy? What do you think is going to happen when these people that are living in $50 million houses and you're camping out a block away, which is exactly what's going on over there?
And the looting.
Well, they looted people's houses when they found out that places were getting evacuated. Swarms of organized gangs were showing up. This lady said 100 guys showed up in front of this house, and she thought they were helping her neighbor move. They just broke down the door and started stealing TVs, stealing everything.
If the house burnt down, that's kind of an
if the house burnt down. But what if the house doesn't burn down? You just stole all their shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like you can't do that.
It's the purge. This is what Democrat leadership, air quote, is going to get you every time. We don't need a Republican answer. We need common sense answers. And that's when, Trump on the campaign trail said the Republican Party is now the party of common sense. Yeah, if Trump is pushing MAGA stuff, that's the highest percentage of common sense ideas I've ever seen. And I'm here for it.
Because that's a break.
Not perfect. Nothing's perfect. Let's keep talking about every issue and ways to make everything better.
I'm not actually defending it.
But I see their point, too, if I was super poor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, look, if something's destroyed, you mine it for its resources. You salvage anything that you can. I go to garage sales. I go to estate sales. I go to thrift stores. I like looking around and seeing what there's. Like, oh, here's a diamond in the rough. Here's a diamond in the rough. Literally, sometimes you find diamonds in the rough. I don't like anything being wasted. There's a difference between robbing somebody and engaging in an interaction there, salvaging things to try to help them reclaim family photos and, I don't know, anything that survived that's usable versus robbing them of the smoldering ashes. Come on.
Yeah.
If I was super poor and we were living in the fucking hood, and then someone came along and said, look, they're evacuating these fucking communities anyway, man. Fuck it. Let's go get paid. Let's go get paid.
Yeah, the house is going to burn down. They're going to get insurance.
And if you live in LA and you get caught, they just let you go.
Yeah.
That's true.
They just let you go.
And then
That's what Newsom created. That's what California created by essentially making theft legal. You're barely even going to get a slap on the wrist if it's under $999 or something. If it's under $1,000, these different little metrics, it's like, it's almost always 95% of the problems being caused by 5% of the people. Deal with the repeat problems, the menace to society, and watch the numbers change.
Didn't Biden say he's given full coverage for this one? How can that be? That's so much money.
It's the same thing as,
he also said
college debts. He just says it.
Yeah,
Well, actually, no.
We're
going to cover it. Don't. I'm not going to pardon it.
This is climate change.
So, yeah, the narratives are falling short. We need common sense answers, common sense solutions, and Democrats are devoid of most of these. This is huge. Riley Gaines talking about the passage of the House bill to protect women in sports. Bravo. One step closer.
I heard that this bill is a waste of time. And let me tell you the message I received when I heard that is that I'm a waste of time. Girls around the country, just like me, are a waste of time. Your daughters are a waste of time to all House Democrats except the two who voted in favor of the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act. But to Speaker Johnson's point, the American people spoke on November 5th.
Imagine not defending women from getting their ass beat by boys in schools, in competition, in direct sports competition. Male and female were separated for a reason. Imagine not protecting girls. Haven't you seen these videos? Woman playing volleyball and the guy jumps up and spikes the hell out of it and blasts her face into pieces. Stronger, more powerful men do not compete against women. If they absolutely beg to play on a co-ed team, I mean, okay. Who are you to say somebody can't follow their dream and go up against the biggest, tallest, strongest, fastest men? If you want to. Do I think it's a great idea? I don't. I don't want to see you get hurt unnecessarily. That's a good thing, not a bad thing. So bravo to Riley Gaines. House passing a bill banning biological males from women's school sports, and says girls are tired of begging for safety.
The common sense, everyday Americans who intuitively know that men and women are different. Men do not belong in women's sports. And with the House passage of the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act, we are one step closer as a nation to making sure that not one more male athlete is able to take a trophy, a roster spot, playing time,
or a scholarship,
resources, or an opportunity to compete from a woman.
There you go. I'm very happy about that. But it's just absurd that we even have to say this out loud. All right. Trump is kind of proposing the External Revenue Service to handle tariffs and ultimately eliminate income taxes in America. What's Wayne Allen Root have to say?
So I think it's possible to eliminate income taxes. I know because I live in Nevada. There's only, I believe, 7 states in America that have no income taxes. Nevada, Wyoming, Tennessee, Florida, Texas, New Hampshire, and Alaska. I believe that's it. 7 states out of 50 don't have income taxes, and they all do fantastic. And all of them have exploding economies. I don't know about Alaska. Nobody wants to live in freezing cold Alaska. So that might be an exception. Nobody really wants to live in Wyoming. That's the middle of nowhere. So that might be an exception. They're both beautiful states, by the way. Wyoming's gorgeous and Alaska's stunning. But the end result is everybody wants to live in Las Vegas, Nevada. Everyone wants to live in Florida. Everyone wants to live in Texas. Everyone's moving to Nashville, Tennessee. Those are the hottest states in America with the hottest economies and the fastest growing populations. So obviously no taxes works. So it can be done. It can be done. So this just in, that's why it's the number one story. Trump announces the formation. You know how we have the Internal Revenue Service? He's creating the External Revenue Service, the ERS, to collect tariffs and potentially abolish income taxes collected by the IRS. Only Trump would think up. Listen, I think I'm the single most creative human being in the world on TV, and I've come up with some great things. But I've never even thought of, hey, what's the opposite of the Internal Revenue Service? The External Revenue Service, the ERS. Who thought of that? That's amazing if Trump did it, or he had someone really smart to do it. So it's fantastic. But they didn't come up with a new idea. I came up with the idea for a long time now. Get rid of the IRS. There should be a national fair tax combined with tariffs. And we can eliminate income taxes completely. It would be fantastic. So,
new ideas. We need to improve the quality of life for Americans. Reduce the amount that we have to pay for supplies, reduce the amount that we have to pay as penance for the privilege of existing and breathing air, and increase the purchasing power of the currency that we decide to use. That's where we're at. Time for new ideas, new suggestions, better mousetraps, accountability, higher expectations. It's time for a change, and we're 5 days away from fundamentally transforming America back to something great and innovating something that's even better. Every day, everything we do, we can do a little bit better or a lot better. Let's focus on that. And thanks for joining us today on today's episode of the TNAM AM show. Still trying to figure out what I should call it. TNAM Morning Show. TNAM, of course, for the New American Media. Follow us in all of the places, please. YouTube.com/The New American Media. That's a good place. If you'd like to contribute to the New American Media, we're on patreon.com/The New American Media. Sign up to do a $5, $10, $15, $100, $1,000 monthly contribution. It's all appreciated. You can go on Venmo at Brian Engelman, BrianEngelman. This is all self-funded, self-financed, and it takes a lot of time to keep putting together a consistent quality product so that we can deliver you interesting, thought-provoking, timely, accurate, mostly accurate, never intentionally deceptive information. We're all allowed to kind of see something and think okay, I thought that's what was going on. No, that's not. Okay, well, oh, wow, okay. I probably said that a few times. I didn't know that was untrue. All right, moving on. Let's level up and keep going. But yeah, we try to deliver you quality content. Also, PayPal, if you'd like to contribute, at Fuzz Installment, FUZZINSTALLMENT. Private Facebook group on TNAM's The Agree to Disagree Show. You'll have to type it in exactly like that. Capital TNAM apostrophe lowercase s, quotation marks, The Agree to Disagree Show, quotation mark. Otherwise, Facebook didn't like showing us when you type in Agree to Disagree Show, The Agree to Disagree Show. YouTube.com/The New American Media. Of course, Rumble. We are The New American Media on Rumble. Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, The Agree to Disagree Show. And I'm trying to figure out, maybe I'll just put it the New American Media Podcast. I don't know, because I don't only do the same thing. I have a sports show, the Unhappy Hour sports show. Then I have the Agree to Disagree show. Am I going to do a TNAM morning and a TNAM night show? It's going to be a lot of shows, a lot of different brands. Tomorrow, we'll be doing the Agree to Disagree show at 3 o'clock Eastern, live. Join us. I think Blake Wally will be joining us, producing and co-hosting. And then afterward at 5 p.m. Eastern, I'll be doing Strictly Football. That'll be with myself and Mike Barra. He's a Seahawks fan. I'm a Browns fan. And we're going to talk about probably touch on the college football playoffs. We're going to talk about maybe have a special guest giving us some Vegas insider tips and tricks and mathematics and thought points. And if you want to wager on any of the matchups for entertainment purposes only, of course, but that'll be 5 o'clock tomorrow Eastern. And then we'll be in DC for the inauguration. It's going to be cold. So we got a few things to get ready, get prepared for, but we try to go to interesting places and deliver you interesting insights. So definitely check us out. Also, follow us on X at American_media_. And I think I will play you out for today with a preview of the Agree to Disagree show tomorrow at 3 o'clock. So here you go, everybody. Here is the intro, the supercut intro. Rough is what it's labeled as for the Agree to Disagree show tomorrow. I'm going to sign off, and I will talk to you later. I appreciate you. I love you. Take care. Peace.